Hi everybody and welcome back to Will's Mountain Homestead. My name is Wendy and today I'm going to be sharing with you the information and my knowledge of pressure canning. And it might seem daunting. I promise you're not going to blow up your canner, you're not going to blow up your kitchen. Everybody has that fear the first time and I promise it won't happen because there are safety mechanisms built into the canners to prevent that. So I'm going to show you two different types of canners that I have, safety features, how to use them, and share with you some books that I have that I think you will like as a resource to use for canning. So pressure canning is for your low acidic foods. I'm talking your meat, vegetables, fish, poultry, that type of food. So for us, we do a lot of canning of venison, chicken, potatoes, green beans, and then any soups or stews that you want to do, like vegetable soup or bean soup or anything like that, you're going to need a pressure canner for. And for us, we're a family of 3, so for the meats, we can usually get away with a pint for our meats, depending on what I'm cooking. I don't do a whole lot of quarts for meat. Now for vegetables like potatoes, I do can potatoes in quarts, and I also can our green beans in quarts as well. And it is a very simple process, just you have to get over the fear of actually using the equipment. So let me show you how and we'll get started. When using this type of canner, this is a Presto canner. There are a couple things you need to know about it before you start, and I would recommend, if this is your first time using a pressure canner, that you try it out with something easy. Just do water. Pressure can water, just to give you an idea, because you can't screw water up. So pressure can a couple quarts of water, and to get the feel of what your oven temperature is, to get you built up to pressure and sustain it, and it'll give you a feel for how to actually use it before you go and do your own products like your potatoes or your beans. So with this model, this is, like I said, this is a Presto. This is the lid that fits it, and there are a few things on here that are important. So this piece right here is the rubber end, and if you build up too much pressure in the canner, this is your safety feature. This will expel and come out and let out all of the steam, okay? This piece here, see how it pops up? This piece here will pop up right before your steam and stuff starts to come out of this hole here, all right? Well, it could happen at about the same time. So that's that. This nozzle is where you put your weight on. Okay, so let me just run through real quick how you do it and how the setup is. In this Presto pot, there are markings on the inside, and I'll turn my pot so that hopefully you can see it. They're really, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not, but there are 3 lines on the inside. This pot calls for around 2 quarts of liquid in it. And if you do measure it out, it comes to that first line, which is right here, okay? And every pressure canner has a ring. This ring goes down into the bottom. Don't ever forget to put that ring in, because you need to have it, your jars lifted off of the bottom of the pressure canner, okay? So say you have your potatoes ready and your water's in here and you're ready to go. So we're going to put our potatoes in. We're just going to pretend that I have this full, okay? My lid has a line here to line up with my arrow on my pot. So I'm going to line these up and then turn it shut, okay? So what's going to happen, the pressure's going to build up, okay? The pressure's going to build up inside this pot. You're going to have steam come out of this vent pipe here, okay? The steam has to come out of here for 10 minutes. So once you start see the steam coming up, it has to come out of here for 10 minutes before you put your weights on, okay? Excuse me. This is set up, this is a screw top system. So each of these weights is 5 pounds of pressure. So these just lift right off, these rings lift off. That right there is 5 pounds, 10 pounds, and 15 pounds. Okay, so you do whatever your recipe calls for with what altitude you live at, okay? Then just screw this top piece back on, and then it's ready to be used, okay? So steam has come out of here for 10 minutes. So once your 10 minutes is up for the steam coming out, you place your weight on, okay? When to set your timer is when this starts to do a slow, gentle rock. So it'll sit and it'll go like this. Now for meat, for this chicken, this was processed at 75 minutes for 15 pounds of pressure. So it has to go for 75 minutes rocking at a gentle rock like this. If it starts going like this, that is way too fast. You need to turn your heat down. Just a slow rocking back and forth. Okay? And once your 75 minutes are up, don't touch anything. Don't touch this, don't touch the pot, don't do anything. Just let it completely sit, and I'll show you what'll happen here. This piece will be up, okay? Once this piece, it'll drop and it'll become flat, okay? So while this is rocking, this piece will be popped up, okay? When you're done and you turn your stove off, usually it takes about 20 minutes, sometimes longer, depending on what weight you have and what temperature you've got your pot, have your contents in your pot. This will drop down. Once that drops, then you can remove your weight. You can take that off, and then you can twist open your lid. And when you twist open your lid, twist it and open it this way, away from your face. Nothing is worse than getting burnt trying to pressure can. Then you take out your grabbers here, pull it straight out. Do not tilt it, don't tip it, straight out, and wherever you're going to place it to cool down, whether it be on a towel or a rack. And then you don't touch them, just let them go. You'll start hearing them ping. And you can see, like, I can lift this one by the lid. That's how you want it. You want to be able to know that you have a good seal on your products. So you'll check those 24 hours after you have finished and you've pulled them out and they've cooled completely down. You'll check them. And then you'll put dates on them as to when you did them. I don't use the labels. I just use brand new lids and just write on the lids. It's important that you do use a brand new lid each and every time for pressure canning or water bath canning. And I think that's pretty standard. Unless you use the Tatler lids, which are reusable, but I don't have those. A couple of resources. I do like the Ball books, the Blue Book of Guide to Preserving. You can tell it has been used. I have dripped water on it. It is just, it's very used. This is my favorite book. This is the Home Preserving book. It has any and every recipe you could possibly think of in this book, and it's geared for both water bath canning and for pressure canning. And it gives you all different types of recipes that you're not going to find in just a basic book. So if you're going to buy anything and invest in a book, I would recommend this one. And then I also have this book here, which is Canning and Preserving for Dummies. I know it might seem strange to have this, but I started canning probably about 10 years ago. I knew nothing about it. YouTube, I didn't know anything about YouTube, even if it was a thing to watch back then. But I wanted to learn, so I bought this, and it has water bath canning, dehydrating, pressure canning, freezing, any way you can preserve food. It will teach you in this book. So I would check out places like thrift books, or, you know, like a used books place that you can go to, like Goodwill might even have them too, where you can get them very cheap. But do invest in some good books, and it will help you with recipes and times, because your times and weights will vary depending on what altitude you are at. After you have finished canning, everything's cooled down, you've washed your pot out, you've washed your lid, make sure to clean your ring, your rubber ring inside, and let it dry thoroughly. It's important that you inspect this ring before each and every use to make sure that there isn't any dry rot or that there aren't chunks of it missing. This is the one piece that can go bad in this type of a canner, so keep an eye on it. If it starts looking pretty worn out, get a replacement piece. They're not that expensive as of right now, and then you can continue canning with it. This type of canner that has only the weight that sits on it like this does not need to be checked at your local extension. So there's no going to get it tested. There's no going to, you know, wherever your county extension office is to make sure that your pressure builds up like it should be, because these weights take care of that. Now, the other canner that I'm going to show you does need to be tested and checked, and the lady that used to do it at our county extension office has retired, and they didn't replace her job. So the next county over from us, they do not test the All-American canners. They only test the Prestos. So I no longer know if my canner is within the appropriate range to be safe. So therefore I'm not using it anymore. And they do sell replacement pieces I know that I could get, or I could just get a brand new lid. But that defeats the purpose if I can't get it tested. So for us right now, we're sticking with this guy and we're using our weights. So let me show you that other canner in case you have something similar and want to know how to use it. So let me show you the All-American. The pot on my stove, this is an All-American canner, and it is an older model, and it has a dial gauge to it, and then this piece flips up and down. This is the one I can't use anymore, and usually around this time of year, March, April, I do go get it checked because of accuracy. And what they'll do is they will check with a pump machine to make sure when they pump it up to 10 pounds of pressure, it goes to 10 pounds of pressure or 15 or whatnot. Usually it's okay if it's off by 1 or 2 degrees. If it's more than that, then it's not fit to be used, because what happens, you're not actually getting up to the 240, 250 degrees that you need to avoid getting botulism in your food. The last thing you want to do is make yourself or your family sick. So with this is considered metal on metal. And when I lift this off, you'll see there's metal, metal, and there's no rubber piece that is on the inside here, okay? It also has racks that go with it, and right here you'll see it has an arrow that lines up with this arrow to close it. So with this type of model, you would close it, and then you would tighten each of these, oh, I'm so sorry. You'll tighten each of these wing nuts down until it is completely tight. You'll go with this one, then you'll go across to do the one that's opposite of it. You'll go to this one, do the one that's opposite, this one, and the one that's opposite. Tighten everything down really, really well. Get your water boiling inside. Usually with this one, it is 2 quarts for this one. And get it going. You're going to vent this for 10 minutes. And once that 10 minutes is over, excuse me, once that 10 minutes is over, you would flip that down. Once your pressure starts to come up to whether it's 10 pounds, 11 pounds, 15 pounds, then you would start your timer at that point, okay? So just make sure that you follow the instructions that are given, and also follow the guidelines for your stove as well. I know I can't do water bath canning on my stove, but on my glass top stove, but I can do pressure canning on it, okay? So make sure you follow those instructions really well. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you found this to be educational and hopefully take the fear out of trying to pressure can for the first time. So grow your gardens, preserve your food, and enjoy what God has blessed you with. And please share any tips or comments that you have down below. And please make sure to subscribe to our channel so that we can continue bringing you content like this. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.